Hey everyone, welcome to Inner Love Messages. I'm Sarah, and if you're new here, I want to extend a warm welcome to the channel. If you're already subscribed, it's so great to have you back. Before we dive into tonight's reading, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your love and support, whether it's through likes, comments, or subscriptions. Your energy means the world to me, and I appreciate you all so much. Let's settle into the energy of tonight's reading. I've received a no-contact message from your person, and I'll be using this deck to tune into where they are emotionally right now, how they're feeling about you in this connection. What's coming through is raw, unfiltered, and deeply honest. So let's explore what their heart has been quietly holding on to. The very first message I received was, "I miss the way you look at me." And when I tuned into that, I immediately felt this wave of emotion rush in. It hit in a way that felt significant, almost sacred. This isn't something casual or fleeting. It carries a strong spiritual resonance, while it might not be meant for everyone. If this message stirs something inside you, then it's absolutely meant for you. The energy wrapped around it feels like a soul-deep recognition, the kind of bond that exists on another level entirely. This isn't just a past relationship. This is a sacred connection, something that was always meant to unfold the way it did, even if it's hard to understand why. What I feel from this person is a longing that's not just about physical closeness, it's about being seen, really seen, in the way only you could see them. This message is especially for the divine feminine who is currently in separation from their person. Whether you stepped back or the silence just grew naturally over time, your absence is deeply felt. But more than that, what they miss most is the way you looked at them. The way your gaze seemed to reach straight into who they truly are. There's something unforgettable about that. It wasn't just eye contact, it was connection. It was as though time stood still and nothing else existed but the two of you in that quiet space. There's a weight to those memories, a quiet power that still echoes in their heart. The way your eyes met held something more than words could express. There was this silent understanding, something pure and rare. And it told them that this was no ordinary bond. Even if they couldn't fully acknowledge it back then, deep down, they knew. And now, with space and time between you, they still return to those moments, holding on to the feeling you gave them. It's not just nostalgia, it's more like their soul still remembers, still feels the imprint you left. Right now, what I'm sensing is that they're not only missing you, they're missing the sacredness of the connection you shared. There was a powerful pull between your energies, something magnetic that can't be easily explained but is definitely still present. Their feelings go far beyond surface-level attraction. It's about how you made them feel alive, understood, and valued on a level they hadn't experienced before. Sometimes, the most profound moments happen in silence without needing to be explained. That's what you gave them, those silent moments that spoke volumes, that touched their heart in a way nothing else has. And the truth is, that energy hasn't faded. It's still here, living in the quiet corners of their being, still as strong as it was in those unforgettable moments between you. Even if everything around you both has changed, that part hasn't. The connection remains, transformed perhaps, but still pulsing with the same truth it always held. As I tune in further, it becomes clear that they're still thinking about you. The emotions haven't dulled with time. If anything, the longing has grown deeper. They aren't just hoping to reconnect physically, they're yearning to be close in a way that honors the soul-level connection you shared. They want to meet you again in that sacred emotional space where vulnerability and truth exist without fear. When you remember that moment when your eyes met, you might feel a rush of emotion yourself. Maybe your heart beats a little faster, or you feel a sudden heaviness in your chest that you can't quite explain. That's not just memory, that's energy. That's the soul recognizing something important. Your gaze wasn't just a look. It was a spark, a flame that awakened something deep within them. It opened a door to their own emotions, to a part of themselves they may not have been ready to face until now. They still carry that moment, and it stirs something in them every time it surfaces. There's a strong masculine energy here that feels as though it's been quietly watching, waiting. He's standing at a threshold of emotional change, beginning to confront parts of himself he's hidden from the world. And now, what he wants more than anything is to be seen, not just for who he pretends to be or what he's shown others, but for who he truly is underneath it all. It's like he's taken off the mask, even if only briefly, and he's hoping you'll notice. What he's craving isn't just love or affection, it's recognition. He wants to know that someone sees his evolution, understands his pain, and honors the path he's walked. It feels like the two of you crossed paths during a transformative time when both your lives were in motion, shifting in ways neither of you fully understood back then. Maybe you were both navigating uncertainty or standing at the edge of change. But that meeting, it wasn't accidental. The universe brought you together for a reason at a time when your souls were both asking for something more. Even if the timing wasn't right to dive fully into those feelings, the connection was felt deeply and clearly, whether it was spoken or not. And now, with everything that's happened, the connection still lives. You might find yourself thinking of them more often, sensing their presence in quiet moments or feeling waves of emotion that catch you off guard. That's their energy reaching for you, calling you back, not just out of desire, but out of something more profound. They're not just longing to see your face again, they're longing to be seen by you in the way only you can, the way that reaches into their very core and reminds them of who they really are. They've likely been keeping parts of themselves hidden, showing only pieces of who they are to the world. Maybe they've been in other connections, but those interactions feel empty now, hollow, like they're missing the depth and authenticity they truly need. Something inside them has shifted. They can no longer accept shallow interactions. They crave realness. They want truth. They want heart, and they want the kind of connection they know is possible with you, something that's not just emotional, but spiritual, grounded, and real. This pull they feel toward you isn't something passing or temporary. It's the kind of energy that lingers because it was always meant to. It's as if destiny left a thread between you two, tugging gently but insistently, drawing you both towards something deeper. Even if they haven't said a word out loud, their energy is speaking volumes. You might feel it in the way your heart tightens when you think of them, or in the way certain memories flood in without warning. That's not just longing, it's alignment. It's your souls responding to each other, calling out in ways you both can feel. So if you're wondering what they want now, it's not just to be near you. They want to reconnect in a way that feels honest and sacred. They want to strip away the layers, the stories, the fears, and just be seen. There's something tender in that desire, something powerful. What they're really asking for is a connection that will change them and you in ways neither of you can fully see yet. They're yearning for you, not out of ego, but out of this deep longing to be accepted for who they truly are. They want someone to see the parts of themselves they've kept hidden, to understand the weight they carry and the wounds they've tried to heal on their own. You see past the exterior, past the performance, and into something much deeper, and that's what they crave most. That soul-level recognition, that feeling of being seen and understood and accepted completely. And as I move into the next part of the reading, the message that comes forward is, I'm healing from my past. There's a beautiful, profound transformation taking place within the divine masculine energy right now. This healing isn't surface level. It goes deep, all the way to the roots. It's about facing the pain that's been buried for years, the emotional wounds that never fully healed. This journey isn't easy, but it's real, and it's unfolding in a way that brings them closer to their truth and to you. Here is a rephrased version of your entire script, keeping the meaning intact and presenting it in a more natural, emotionally resonant, human-friendly tone without using bullet points or a point-by-point format. Healing doesn't just happen in a single moment. It's a journey, gentle, continuous, and often unfolding quietly over time. It requires patience, courage, and a willingness to sit with discomfort and look honestly at what lies beneath the surface. Right now, what's most deeply felt is the timing of your connection. It doesn't feel like a coincidence. There's a sense that the universe brought you together with divine precision at just the right moment when you both needed it most. If you think back to when your paths first crossed, you'll notice something important. You were both going through personal challenges, perhaps even mirrored versions of each other's struggles, whether those were shared out loud or held quietly within. Despite the battles you were each facing, something in each other's presence offered a sense of calm, like finding shelter in a storm. Even now, with space between you, whether emotional, physical, or both, you might be wondering what's going on inside their heart and mind. And the truth is, they're going through something monumental. A shift is happening within them, something that's awakening their spirit and stirring their inner world. This isn't just a passing phase. It's a transformation that's reshaping who they are and helping them see their past, their pain, and their future through new eyes. The masculine energy in this dynamic has carried a heavy burden, one that may not be immediately visible from the outside. They've become skilled at appearing strong, holding themselves together and moving through life as though nothing could shake them. But when you came into their life, something changed. It was subtle but undeniable, something deep within them stirred. cracking open the armor they had spent years building. Up until that moment, they had protected their vulnerability by shutting it away, avoiding the parts of themselves they didn't want to feel. They had learned to be stoic, to function while disconnected from their emotional truth. Then you arrived, and with that came a flood of feeling they hadn't expected. In your presence, they didn't feel the need to keep everything hidden. It wasn't fear or discomfort that made them feel exposed. It was recognition. Something about you told them it was safe to stop pretending. Your presence became a mirror, reflecting not just who they were, but who they had the potential to become. That moment, whether it was acknowledged or not, sparked a process of healing inside of them. You were the catalyst they didn't know they needed. What's even more powerful is that your journey mirrors theirs in many ways. Your stories may not be identical, but emotionally, you've walked similar paths. You've known grief, loss, and the quiet ache of carrying pain alone. Even if you haven't spoken about it in detail, your souls seem to understand each other without needing words. There's this quiet mutual recognition of your shared wounds, and in that recognition, there's a sacred kind of healing. You've both offered each other something that no one else could, a sense of being seen and held without judgment. This connection might not make sense to the outside world. It may not look conventional or follow any familiar path, but underneath it all, it's deeply rooted in resilience. You've both survived your own storms, and through that survival, you've learned that healing isn't just about forgetting what hurt you. It's about embracing it, learning from it, and discovering your strength through it. There's a mutual understanding between you, an unspoken agreement that no matter how winding the path becomes, you're walking it together in spirit. Gratitude surrounds this bond. It lingers in the air between you, even if it's never spoken aloud. There's this quiet acknowledgement that your meeting wasn't by chance. The universe designed it to happen exactly when it did. Before you, they often felt unseen. They may have been surrounded by people, even loved ones, but none truly understood them on a soul level. No one could reflect back to them their essence the way you did. You saw them, really saw them, and in that moment, something shifted. They felt known in a way they hadn't before, and it left a lasting imprint. But that realization also brought with it a wave of emotions they weren't quite ready to face. Meeting you awakened something raw, something they had tucked away for a long time. It's possible that's why they withdrew or became distant, not because they didn't care, but because they were overwhelmed by the depth of what they were beginning to feel. Their soul may have recognized you long before their mind could catch up. And while their retreat may have felt confusing or painful, it was never a rejection of you. It was a reaction to the healing you ignited within them. You became a mirror for truth, and sometimes truth is hard to face. Now, more than ever, they're beginning to long for authenticity, not just in how they show up with others, but in how they meet themselves. They're shedding the old layers, rewriting the stories they've been carrying about love, worthiness, and what it means to be truly seen. They're starting to let go of the beliefs that no longer serve them, opening up to a more expansive, honest version of themselves. And though this isn't easy, it's necessary. It's sacred work. If you've been feeling the intensity of this shift too, you're not alone. Before you met, there was likely a deep sense of being disconnected from those around you. Maybe you had loving people in your life, yet still felt misunderstood. There was a part of you, something tender, powerful, and true that others just couldn't seem to grasp. But in this connection, you felt seen, not for who you pretended to be or who others wanted you to be, but for who you really are. This is the kind of connection that goes beyond the surface and reaches into the soul. It's important to understand that what you share doesn't fit the typical mold. It's not just a bond created through shared pain or trauma. This isn't a trauma bond, it's something far more evolved. While you may have experienced pain, that's not the foundation of this connection. Instead, you were drawn to one another to rise beyond that pain, to outgrow the wounds, and step into something higher. You're not here to relive old patterns, you're here to transcend them. There's a higher calling in this connection. It's a force pulling you both toward growth, healing, and transformation. You may not always be able to articulate it, but there's an intuitive understanding between you that feels timeless. Your souls recognize each other, and in that recognition lies a powerful truth. You were meant to meet not just to love, but to evolve. Yes, there are moments of challenge. Yes, the road isn't always easy. But this journey is shaping you both into the fullest, truest expressions of who you are. It's carving out space for you to become what you were always meant to be. Together, Through every uncomfortable emotion, every step of self-discovery, you are both being led to something beautiful, something real. Right now, your person is doing a lot of soul-searching. They may not have spoken it aloud, but they're reflecting deeply on the nature of your connection. There's something different about the way you relate to each other. It goes beyond words. It's quiet, yet profound, almost as though you're interacting through your higher selves, bypassing the noise of the outside world. In that space, everything feels honest and pure. And perhaps, in their past relationships, the most sacred parts of who they are were never truly seen or honored. They've longed to be recognized not just for what they do or how they appear, but for who they are at the core. Meeting you stirred something deep within them. It wasn't just about chemistry or emotional closeness. It was about energy. It was about being met in a way they had never experienced before. And even without saying it, they felt this silent gratitude for you. You've touched them in a way that words could never capture. As they move through their healing, they are slowly learning to allow those buried feelings to come to the surface. The impact you've had on their heart is undeniable. Your presence reminded them that connection can be sacred, that love can be healing, and that it's possible to be deeply known by another soul. They're beginning to see their life and the people in it more clearly. They're waking up to truths they may have ignored or misunderstood before, and through it all, the connection they share with you stands out as something rare, something meaningful. It has helped them begin to reshape how they see themselves, guiding them gently back to who they really are. Something deep within them is beginning to stir. Although they may have always carried a quiet knowing at their core, there's a shift happening now, an inner awakening to their own truth. They're starting to uncover the layers of who they really are, aligning more closely with what feels real and authentic to them. It's a powerful and transformative time, but it also brings emotional intensity and challenges. This kind of awakening isn't easy. It demands a lot of emotional energy, often leaving them feeling drained as they confront not only their own identity, but also everything around them. They're being called to question long-held beliefs, their relationships, the choices they've made, and even their sense of self. The contrast between the truth emerging from within and the reality they've been living in can be overwhelming. It creates a kind of emotional dissonance, a sense of inner conflict, as their soul urges them forward while the outside world doesn't quite reflect this internal evolution. Amid all of this, it's becoming clear that they've been dreaming about you. These dreams may not just be surface-level flickers of memory or thought. They seem to be part of something more profound. On a spiritual level, there's a lot of energy moving between the two of you, and while this exchange might not be entirely conscious, it's undeniably present. They could be reaching out to you through these dreams, trying to express emotions they're still working through in waking life. This emotional processing is intense, and it's not easy for them to make sense of what they're feeling. They might be overanalyzing their emotions, hesitating, unsure of how to express themselves clearly. Vulnerability doesn't come naturally to them, especially if they've never truly felt safe being open, so even though the emotions are there, they might feel tangled and confusing, both for them and for you.
Still, something within them is beginning to soften. They're slowly allowing themselves to feel more deeply, to experience their emotions instead of pushing them away. This gradual opening might start to show in small ways, in their words, their behavior, or even just in how they carry their energy. And you may be feeling this shift too. There's a sense that even though you're walking your individual paths, you're still somehow moving through this together. Your emotional and spiritual journeys are linked, flowing through both the seen and unseen. The bond between you feels undeniable, energetically alive, and there's a shared transformation unfolding on multiple levels. You may find yourself dreaming of them too, or sensing their presence in moments that feel unexpectedly intimate. These dreams are more than fleeting images. They're emotionally charged, vivid, and seem to hold meaning. They could be offering glimpses into your future connection, revealing truths you haven't consciously explored, or simply reminding you of the depth of your bond. If there's physical distance between you and this person, the dreams could be their soul's way of reaching across that space, finding a way to communicate what words can't fully express. The intensity of these dreams isn't accidental. It speaks to the depth of your connection, one that moves beyond time and place. There's a strong possibility that what you're experiencing in these dreams is being mirrored on their end as well. The emotions, the presence, the inner pull, it's mutual. Even though you may not have spoken about it, your energies are communicating, mingling in ways that neither of you can fully explain, but both of you can deeply feel. This connection runs so deep that it's as though your inner worlds are in constant dialogue. You're both feeling the emotional ripples of each other's growth, longing, and transformation. Even with miles or silence between you, your hearts seem to be walking side by side. These experiences aren't random. They're not just dreams in the traditional sense. They're spiritual messages, signs of emotional release, healing, and growth. Your person is likely going through a significant internal shift, shedding old wounds and patterns they've carried for far too long. As this release happens, their energy becomes more open, more vulnerable, and more in tune with their deeper truth. You might notice it, even if subtly. Maybe their energy feels softer, or you sense that they're thinking of you more than usual. This process isn't isolated, it's shared. The emotions that rise in you, especially at night or when you're alone with your thoughts, may be a reflection of what they're experiencing at the same time. The connection you share is making itself known in undeniable ways. The dreams, the emotions, the synchronicities, they're all part of a larger, intertwined experience. Your person may even be wondering if you feel it too, if you're noticing the same shifts, the same inner pull. And chances are, you are. Especially if this is a twin flame journey, where the connection exists on multiple dimensions. It's a relationship that goes far beyond the surface, one that stretches into the spiritual realm, offering guidance, insight, and sometimes even glimpses of the future. These moments aren't just emotional, they're sacred. They show you what's unfolding now, what's coming next, and what has always existed between your souls. Dreams in this kind of connection are often more than symbolic. They can act like portals, revealing what's coming, helping you understand your person's inner world, or showing you pieces of the connection you haven't fully seen before. While things in the physical world, the 3D realm, can often feel uncertain or even contradictory, your dreams help anchor you in truth. They offer clarity when the external world does not, and they guide you toward deeper trust in what your soul already knows. What you're feeling is real. The messages, the signs, the energy, all of it is valid. Even if your person hasn't spoken the words, they're communicating in other ways. Through dreams, through energy, through subtle shifts in how they show up emotionally. They want you to trust in this journey, to believe in the unseen, to listen to the wisdom of your intuition. They may not be able to say it out loud just yet, but everything in their energy is reaching toward you. They want you to know that this path you're walking, together, even if apart, is meaningful. It's sacred. And it's leading you somewhere beautiful. Something big is beginning to unfold. There's a sense of energetic clearing taking place, like a veil is being lifted. This feels like an awakening, not just emotional, but spiritual. These shifts are often accompanied by energetic activations, especially in twin flame or soul deep connections. The masculine energy in this dynamic seems to be rising in a way it hasn't before. For a long time, they may have tried to suppress what they were feeling, holding back out of fear, past pain, or simply the overwhelming nature of the emotions themselves. They may have run, resisted, tried to distance themselves from the truth of the bond. But now the energy is different. They're no longer trying to avoid it. In fact, they're drawn to it more than ever. They're feeling the call to embrace the emotional intensity, to truly allow themselves to experience what they feel when they think of you, when they look into your eyes, even in memory or imagination. While many of these changes are occurring on a higher spiritual plane, what we might call the fifth dimension, the desire to bring this connection into the tangible, physical world is becoming stronger. They're no longer content with experiencing you only in dreams or spiritual encounters. There's a longing now for something more grounded, more real in the 3D. This desire may be rising within you too. You may feel it as a magnetic pull, a quiet but undeniable knowing that something is shifting and that they are moving closer to you in both energy and intention. If you're feeling this, it's because it's happening. They are being pulled toward you, not just emotionally or mentally, but soulfully. It's as if their higher self is aligning with yours once again, pointing them in your direction. For some of you, this may come as a surprise, especially if they've kept their feelings hidden for a long time. But deep down, you've always felt the truth. There's a knowing between the two of you that doesn't require words. Something ancient, something real. Now all of the walls they once held up are beginning to fall away. The fears, the doubts, the emotional armor, it's all being stripped back. They're no longer resisting what they feel. They're no longer hiding from the connection. Instead, they're stepping into it, ready to embrace the truth they've carried within all along. This shift is monumental, not just for them, but for you too. As they open up and allow themselves to be vulnerable, it creates a ripple effect that opens space for you to step even more fully into your own truth and power. The energy between you is evolving, expanding, and rising to a new frequency. It's no longer about holding back. It's about surrendering to what's real and letting the connection unfold naturally in its own divine timing. There's a quiet yet powerful recognition unfolding, an acknowledgement of a bond that's always been there, perhaps once too intense to face in its full form. Now, both of you find yourselves standing at the edge of something deeply meaningful, something that invites you to step into it with openness and vulnerability. It's asking for nothing less than your whole, unfiltered selves, ready to allow the connection to grow in its most authentic expression. They're feeling things more deeply now, much more than before. The emotional pull is undeniable, and it's tugging at their heart with a force they can no longer resist. In the past, this connection may have overwhelmed them. Something as simple yet intimate as holding eye contact might have stirred up feelings they weren't prepared to confront. That level of closeness may have been too much then, but something inside them has shifted. They're not just okay with eye contact now. They long for it. They ache to be seen, not just glanced at, but truly seen in all their complexity. It's no longer about appearances or surface-level attention. They want to be recognized for who they are, accepted without conditions, understood in the spaces where words fall short. They've awakened to the idea of intimacy in a way that no longer scares them. The risk of pain from letting someone in doesn't outweigh the longing to be met fully anymore. For a long time, they built walls around their heart, believing it was safer that way. They convinced themselves that distance would protect them from being hurt. By keeping people at arm's length, they thought they could maintain control and preserve their emotional stability. But with the time, growth, and hard-earned wisdom, they've come to realize that this kind of self-protection also came with a cost. It left them isolated and disconnected. The depth of connection they secretly craved was always just out of reach because of the very boundaries they had put up. Now, they're tired. Tired of pretending, tired of withholding parts of themselves, tired of maintaining relationships that feel empty or misaligned with who they really are. They're ready to show up fully. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it means stepping into unknown territory, they want to live more honestly, surrounded by people who truly see and accept them. There's a powerful inner transformation happening within them, driven by a rising masculine energy that's pushing them toward growth. But growth, as they're discovering, is not always gentle. It's stirring up old wounds, buried fears, and long-forgotten insecurities that they used to run from. But there's no running now. They're facing everything they once tried to avoid. And while it's undeniably uncomfortable, it's also necessary. They're shedding layers of who they thought they had to be, and in doing so, they're finding healing, clarity, and a sense of self that feels more real than ever before. As this inner work deepens, their external world is beginning to reflect these inner changes. The disconnect between the life they've been living and the life they truly desire is becoming clearer. They're starting to notice what aligns with their soul and what doesn't,
It's as if they're waking up from a long dream, realizing how much of their reality has been shaped by outdated beliefs and unconscious patterns. Letting go of all that, they feel themselves being pulled toward you, your presence, the memories, the emotional imprint you left on them. It all keeps bringing them back to you, and at this point, it's impossible to ignore. What you share isn't ordinary. The way they feel around you, the emotional intensity you draw out of them is something they've never experienced with anyone else. You connect in ways that go beyond words, and that silent understanding between you two reaches places in them that even they hadn't explored before. When they met you, it was like looking into a mirror that revealed parts of themselves they had long forgotten or never truly acknowledged. You awakened something in them that was both exhilarating and terrifying. In your presence, they began to see themselves more clearly, and that reflection changed everything. The level of emotional exposure they feel with you is raw, profound, and completely unlike anything else. It's not about showcasing strength or pretending to have it all figured out. With you, they want to be seen in their realness, in their moments of doubt, in their vulnerability, in their truth. They want to be understood for who they are now, not judged by who they were or who they're expected to become. That kind of deep, soulful recognition is what they've always longed for, and with you, it finally feels within reach. There's a mutual energy that exists between you both, one that runs deeper than surface-level connection. This isn't a one-sided experience, you both feel it. Despite everything you've each gone through, the moment you crossed paths, something irreversible happened. It was more than timing or circumstance, it was spiritual recognition. You each saw something in the other that nobody else ever managed to reflect back. That realization, that deep resonance is what makes this bond so magnetic and undeniable. It's not just about being drawn to you, it's about how your presence awakened them to their own truth. You may have recently felt an emotional surge or an unexpected wave of energy that seemed to come out of nowhere. That's because they're reaching out to you, not necessarily with words, but energetically. Their higher self is moving closer to you, nudging them toward deeper authenticity. They're beginning to organize their life around what truly matters, and with startling clarity, they see that you are at the heart of that vision. What they're experiencing isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. They are waking up to who they are, and that awakening is revealing just how deeply they need you in their life. The words, "You are the missing piece," echo like a truth they've always known but are only now truly understanding. This realization marks a major turning point for them. They're stepping into their power, seeing themselves with new eyes and taking inventory of their life. And while much of it may appear to be in order, there's a void they can no longer ignore. That void is shaped like you. You are the piece that brings everything together, the element that makes the puzzle complete. Even though they're grounded in their everyday life, there's something happening on a much higher level. In the realm of energy, thought, and soul, the 5D space, they already feel you. It's not just a passing memory or a fleeting feeling, it's a constant presence. In their dreams, in their thoughts, in the quiet moments of their day, they sense you. They might not fully understand what it means, but they're aware of the connection. And more than that, they're responding to it. They've been sending you messages, even if they don't realize it consciously. You may have felt these through songs that touch your heart unexpectedly, moments of synchronicity, or energy shifts you can't explain. These aren't coincidences. They're expressions of their soul reaching out to yours. They might not have the words to say what they feel, but their energy is speaking loud and clear. The connection, the attraction, the bond, it's real. And it's only growing stronger. Looking back, this recognition was there from the beginning. Even if they couldn't articulate it, something inside them knew that meeting you wasn't random. It was fated. At first, it might have felt too intense, too sudden. The emotional depth you brought into their life caught them off guard, so they may have pulled away, not because they didn't care, but because they didn't know how to handle the vulnerability that came with letting you in. But things have changed. They're no longer hiding from what they feel. They want to be emotionally open to let you see all of who they are. In this process of rediscovering themselves, they're starting to heal. The past no longer holds the same power over them. They've reached a point where they understand that if they want to move forward, they must let go of what once held them back. And they're ready to do that, not just for themselves, but for the future they want to create with you. This moment marks a turning point. It's more than a realization, it's a transformation. They're choosing to step out of the shadows, to stop letting old fears and regrets shape their destiny. What they've always felt deep inside is finally being brought into the light. You are the peace they've been searching for, and now that they see it clearly, they're ready to begin this next chapter with more courage, more truth, and a heart that's finally open. The connection between you and this person is something sacred. It's the kind of soul-deep recognition that defies logic and transcends time. From the very first moment you both felt it, it wasn't just chemistry or surface attraction. It was a knowing, a deep soul-level awareness that this was something different. The way your eyes met said more than words ever could. It was like unlocking a truth neither of you had been able to put into language before. Even those closest to you may not fully grasp it, because this bond isn't about the physical world, it's spiritual. It touches the unseen, the eternal, the essence of who you both are at your core. And that's what makes it unforgettable. Your person is carrying such intense feelings for you, and they're doing their best to express them, though finding the right words doesn't always come easily. In the beginning, this connection may have felt overwhelming. Something so powerful it was almost too much for them to handle. The weight of the emotions, the realization of how deeply this relationship could change both of you, hit them like a wave they didn't quite know how to swim through. But things have shifted. They've reached a point where they're no longer afraid of what this means. They're ready to step fully into the truth of their feelings for you. There's a strong desire within them to be truly seen by you, to open up and share the deeper parts of who they are, to feel that mutual understanding and recognition that comes when two souls really connect. It's not about small talk or casual interaction anymore. What they want now is a connection that dives into the heart of things, where both of your inner worlds can be exchanged and shared in a way that's meaningful and real. They're not just thinking about moments, they're dreaming of merging your paths together, of walking this life side by side in a way that feels destined. There's something undeniably powerful in the energy between you. It's almost electric, like it was meant to shake things up. This isn't a temporary spark, it's a force that brings transformation. You've both been shifting on a deep level, and the moment you met felt like a cosmic sign that you were ready for this next chapter. It wasn't random. It happened at a pivotal point in both of your lives, as though the universe conspired to bring you together right when you needed it most. This bond is more than rare. It carries a sacred energy, one that invites growth, healing, and elevation. It might challenge you at times, but it will also lift you higher and guide you toward becoming the fullest version of yourselves, both emotionally and spiritually. Right now, they're feeling this pull toward you with an intensity that goes beyond fleeting desire. They long for closeness, for intimacy, for the kind of connection that feels passionate but also grounded. Maybe there were moments in the past when opportunities to go deeper were missed, but now the focus is clear. You're both thinking about each other, wondering what the other is feeling, asking yourselves how this connection can move forward into something even more meaningful. There's an urgency in the air, but it's not rushed. It's rooted in emotional truth. Your person wants to move ahead not just for the sake of progress, but to deepen what already exists in ways that feel authentic and right for both of you. This energy might even be showing up in your dreams. For some, the dream realm has become a space where this connection continues to unfold. You might be dreaming about moments from your past together or seeing vivid glimpses of a future that hasn't yet happened, but somehow feels real. These aren't just dreams, they're spiritual messages, signs that this connection exists on a level beyond the physical. Your person is going through the same kind of emotional storm and wants you to know that they feel it too. When energy between two souls is this strong, it often begins in the spiritual plane long before it anchors in the physical world. That's why you may feel so connected to them while you sleep. It's like your souls are in conversation, even when your minds are at rest. They can't stop thinking about you. Your energy is always with them, even in your absence. There may be times when the emotions get so big, they don't quite know how to speak them aloud. Vulnerability is difficult, especially when the bond runs this deep. And yet, despite the hesitation, there's a craving, a real need to be close, to feel your presence physically. They want to look into your eyes, speak their truth, and finally release the emotions they've held inside. The energy between you is intense right now, and they feel it just as much as you do. They're at the edge of opening up fully. They just need to feel safe enough, reassured enough to take that leap. This connection is changing both of you in undeniable ways, whether it's the beginning of a love that redefines everything you thought you knew or a deepening of a bond that's already strong. What's unfolding between you is something truly profound. There's a pull between you that's magnetic and impossible to ignore. The time to lean into it, to embrace this energy, is now. They trust you on a soul-deep level. There's something about the emotional safety you bring that allows them to feel seen, heard, and accepted. Even if your experiences have been different, there's an unshakable emotional resonance between you, something that transcends your individual stories. It gives them the space to speak from their heart without fear of judgment. That kind of vulnerability is rare, and they don't take it lightly. In fact, they find peace in knowing that you are someone they can turn to, someone who understands the parts of them that they may not show to anyone else. If they have pictures of you, they likely find themselves drawn to them often. In those moments, they feel closer to you, even if you're not physically present. They might be imagining scenes where you're laughing together, holding hands, just being in each other's company. It's not just about physical attraction. Though they absolutely admire your beauty, it's the depth of who you are that leaves a mark on their soul. You've touched something within them that goes far beyond surface-level feelings. It's something real, something they can't explain but know is significant. There's a deep longing in them right now, a desire to experience life with you more fully, to build memories together, to create moments that will be treasured. They're ready for something deeper, something that lasts. This isn't just infatuation, it's the kind of feeling that wants to build a real foundation, to honor what you share and grow it into something even more meaningful. They're yearning for that closeness, for a connection that includes not just joy, but also honesty, vulnerability, and unconditional support. It's possible they'll reach out soon. They're likely wondering if you're feeling what they're feeling, if this connection is as intense for you as it is for them. They might be unsure of how to say it all, but the desire to connect is there. Whether it's through spoken words, shared energy, or even an unspoken understanding that feels almost telepathic, there's something stirring. This isn't the kind of bond that fits neatly into a definition, but that doesn't make it any less real. What you share goes far beyond the visible. It lives in the spaces between words, in the energy that surrounds you both, and in the silence that still feels full of meaning. They're craving a physical closeness now, a moment where you can both be present together, body and soul. They want to hold you, to feel your energy in person, to ground this connection in the physical realm. And while they might still be waiting, the longing continues to grow stronger. That moment of reconnection may be closer than you think, and when it comes, it will be about honoring both your emotional truth and your physical desire to be near each other. And if this message has resonated with you or brought something meaningful into your awareness, your support is always appreciated. Whether it's through a super thanks or simply subscribing, every bit of encouragement helps keep this energy flowing. We're grateful for you and for the connection we share in this space.